There are moments in life when a person looks back at the beginning and wonders how they ever made it through. When I think about where I started, I remember being a high school dropout, wandering through the world without a plan, often without a place to sleep. I remember abandoned buildings, cold night, and days when even hope felt like a luxury I couldn't afford. But I also remember a moment, quiet and simple, when I realized that I didn't have to remain a victim of my circumstances. I could choose to move towards something different. I could choose to fight for my life rather than surrender to it. That first decision felt small. It was just one class. But that one class became two, and those two became a pathway toward a GED. Eventually the GED led to college, and yes, it took 12 long years. The progress was slow, sometimes frustrating, sometimes discouraging, and the higher I climbed, the harder the climb became. But the one thing I refused to do was stop. I wasn't the strongest, the smartest, or the most talented. I wasn't the fastest or the most gifted. What I had was stubbornness. What I had was the willingness to get up one more time. Even on the days when everything inside me said to quit, each level required something new from me. The 4-year degree stretched me more than the GED ever had. The master's degree challenged me more deeply than the bachelor's. And when I reached the stage of the PhD, when it was time for the dissertation, I was honest with myself. Writing wasn't my strength. Being a scholar wasn't what I felt born to be. But I had learned that strength is not always about talent. Sometimes strength is simply refusing to walk away. I kept telling myself, if I wake up, if I breathe, if I keep fighting, then I still have a chance. Life will tell you to quit. It will whisper it, shout it, and repeat until the voice becomes familiar. But there comes a time when you must look at that voice and calmly say, I'm not going anywhere. You tell your obstacles, you will not break me before I break through you. Because when you've come this far, when you've survived what should have taken you out years ago, quitting no longer makes sense. You've already lived through storms that could have destroyed you. You endured heartbreak, abandonment, trauma, loss. You made it through chapters of your life that would have ended someone else's story. And because you're still here, you owe it to yourself to fight for the reward on the other side of all that pain. Success, especially at a high level, becomes less about talent and more about stamina. It becomes about how long you can hold on, how long you can stay focused when the finish line is nowhere in sight. Some people are faster. Some people are stronger. Some people have advantages you never had. But if you are willing to endure, if you have the will to keep going long after your body and mind suggest otherwise, you will find that stamina can carry you to places talent alone cannot. We often admire greatness in athletes, thinkers, creators, and leaders, but behind what we admire are years of discipline, sacrifice, and invisible struggle. Some people move with quiet purpose. They're not interested in showing off or celebrating too early, because they understand that their mission is not yet complete. They have a reason, a why, so strong that it keeps them grounded even in moments of success. When you have a why, you don't need applause to keep moving. Purpose becomes its own reward. If you want to achieve something meaningful, you must have a why that is powerful enough to keep you going on the days you don't feel strong. A why that keeps you working when nobody is watching. A why that pushes you to give everything you had, not because anyone demands it, but because you've decided that your dream is worth the effort. Everybody wants success. Everybody wants the reward, but not everyone wants to do the work. Not everyone wants the early mornings, the late nights, the rehearsals, the studying, the quiet hours of preparation. You must decide that no one in your situation will outwork you. You must decide that your effort will become your advantage. Over time, discipline becomes more valuable than raw talent. Hard work eventually surpasses natural ability. What you lack in skill can be compensated for through persistence, consistency, and resilience. I had learning challenges. I had personal struggles. I failed classes. I wasn't the person anyone would have predicted to succeed. But I made a decision. I told myself that if it took 5 days to do what someone else did in one, then I would take those 5 days. If it took me 4 weeks to read a book that others finished in one, then I would use those 4 weeks. I didn't focus on what others could do. I focused on what I could learn to do, and when skill fell short, what carried me through. There were years when I shut out distractions completely. No television, no unnecessary entertainment, no wasted time. I worked early in the morning, prayed, read, studied, and pushed myself even when progress was slow. Those years in the dark prepared me for opportunities I wasn't yet ready for. And that's the thing. Some blessings don't come in the regular season. Some breakthroughs happen only after extra innings, after overtime, after you've wrestled with your challenges until you've proven that you won't let go. Life is not smooth. It is full of loss, hardship, illness, grief, and unexpected setbacks. I have buried family members, mourned tragedies, and faced health challenges in my home. None of those struggles were visible on the surface. People often see the achievements, but not the battles fought behind the scenes. But I made up my mind that I would not waste any pain I endured. If I had to go through it, then it would push me towards something meaningful. You cannot stop just because the journey gets difficult. If you quit, the pain becomes a tombstone. But if you push through, the pain becomes a scar. Evidence of survival, not defeat. Everyone goes through difficulty. What makes the difference is how you respond. The choice to keep going is powerful, especially when you understand that your time is limited. Opportunities do not wait forever. Sometimes your moment is right around the corner and you must be prepared before it arrives. Too many people wait for someone to call them, choose them, invite them, or validate them. But in the real world, success often comes from preparation, from showing up long before the opportunity appears. Your future may depend on how seriously you take your preparation today. You may feel like you have years, but life has a way of shifting suddenly. Positions open when you least expect them, doors close without warning, people leave, retire, move on. And when your chance comes, the question will be, were you ready? There are two types of people. Those who prepare only when an event is scheduled, and those who prepare every day because excellence has become part of their identity. Every day is a chance to grow, to build discipline, to move one step closer to your vision. You cannot afford to treat your future casually. You cannot afford to hope that success will simply fall into your lap. Growth requires sacrifice. It requires honesty. It requires the courage to confront your weaknesses rather than hide them. Every person knows deep down the obstacles within them that need to be addressed. Avoiding them will keep you average. Facing them is what produces change. If you want a different future, you must take responsibility for your current reality. You must be willing to say, I created parts of this life and therefore I can create something new. This kind of truth is uncomfortable. Looking in the mirror and admitting your role in your circumstances is one of the hardest things you will ever do. But it's also one of the most freeing. Once you acknowledge where you are and why, you can begin to move forward with clarity instead of blame. You stop handing the keys of your life to other people, and you begin taking ownership of your path. Vision is the ability to see the end before you begin. When you can see where you're going, the journey becomes more manageable. You stop worrying about every obstacle because the destination remains clear in your mind. That vision becomes your compass. It guides your decisions. It reminds you what you're working toward when the process becomes exhausting. But vision alone is not enough. You must discipline your mind. You must refuse to allow pain, disappointment, or fear to define the rest of your life. You must decide that the suffering of your past will not dictate your future. You've already endured hardship. Now it's time to get a reward for it. Some people allow their pain to bury them. Others let their pain shape them into something stronger. Both paths require suffering, but only one leads to growth. You must believe that your future is worth fighting for. You must believe that the dreams you once had are still possible, no matter how many years have passed, no matter who doubted you, no matter how many times you fell short. Fear is not bigger than you. Fear is not stronger than you. Fear cannot dictate your destiny unless you let it. And the truth is that you've already proven you can survive difficulty. The boogeyman isn't real. The fear you feel is only a visitor. If you're willing to confront it, it will lose its power. You have greatness within you. Real greatness, not imagined potential. But greatness doesn't reveal itself to people who quit. It reveals itself to those who keep fighting through uncertainty, through exhaustion, through setbacks, through self-doubt. Some of you left dreams behind years ago because someone told you that you weren't good enough. Some of you gave up goals because life became overwhelming. It's time to pick those dreams back up. Not because the past can be changed, but because your future still matters. Surround yourself with people who speak life into you, people who help you grow, people who challenge you to become what you're capable of becoming. No one's past is spotless. No one's journey is perfect. Everyone has failed, and everyone has regrets. But you must forgive yourself. You must release the weight of your past so that your hands are free to build something new. You cannot grow alone. Humans were designed to support one another. Seek guidance, seek mentoring, seek accountability. Find people who remind you of your goals when you start drifting. Find people who want the best for you and are willing to help you become stronger. There comes a moment when you realize you've gone too far to turn back. You've invested too much time, too much effort, too many tears. You've come too far to quit now. At that point, the only direction left is forward. You owe it to yourself to finish what you started. You owe it to the version of you who never gave up, even in the darkest moments. Growth means sacrificing old habits. It means letting go of behaviors, relationships, and mindsets that keep you from advancing. You are not a child anymore. You don't need approval from people who don't understand your mission. The path to becoming your best self requires courage. And sometimes it requires walking away from things that once felt comfortable. Your goal is to become the best human being you can be so that when you leave this world, your children, your family, The people you influence can say, I want to carry that legacy forward. You must build something that outlives you. Kindness does not guarantee that people will treat you fairly. Not everyone will respond to your heart with the same generosity. Some will misunderstand you, some will take advantage. But you cannot become delusional about the world. You must operate from truth, and the truth is that you are responsible for developing the skills, the character, and the discipline necessary to succeed. You must acknowledge where you are lacking so you can grow. Sometimes you stay in jobs or relationships or environments because you hope one day things will magically become what you want them to be. But deep down, you know the truth. You know when it's time to move on. You know when you're staying out of fear instead of purpose. You know when comfort is holding you back. You are brilliant. You are capable. You may be different, but different is not a deficiency. Different can be your superpower. You were created to do something meaningful, and you no longer need to ask permission to pursue it. You have the right to grow. You have the right to evolve. You have the right to change your life. The version of you that exists today will not be the version that reaches your next level. Growth requires transformation. It requires being reshaped by the dream you're chasing. The first version of me would not have been able to stand here today. I had to allow myself to be broken down, rebuilt, and made stronger. Every year, every season, I became more of who I truly am. You must choose to surround yourself with greatness. Great books, great people, great mentors, great environments. These influences will elevate you. They will expand your thinking. They will challenge you to grow beyond your current limits.